2024, and he got this huge grin on his face because he was like, man, I want to race. Say at least 3 races that they were right there in contention to get a win. And with that old car, you had all of Cole Pern's notes.
3, 2, 1.
Hey there, race fans. Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this segment of That Racing Show's Pit Stop. This is something I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to bring up this year, but unfortunately, I think it's time to talk about this. And this is the subject of the situation that's going on between Martin Truex Jr. and the calls that are coming from up top of that pit box. Now, obviously, they started out this year really strong, getting that win at the Busch Clash. Had me thinking that maybe this was their year. Maybe this is the year that they figured out the car, chemistry between MTJ and James was going to work, all going to click. But as the year's playing out, kind of seeing them same things happen that caused Martin to lose several races over the past. Now, I want to start out by saying I'm not talking bad about James Small because I respect everybody that's in this series. Drivers, crew chiefs, everybody. They've all worked hard to get to where they're at, and I don't like to say anything bad about anybody. It's just not my position to do that. But I do have to say this much, that I do think maybe it is time for Joe Gibbs Racing to start looking at maybe a replacement on top of the pit box. Now, this has got fans upset so much here with the situation that happened this weekend. We're going to get into that here in a minute. But it's a situation, again, that's happened over the past. And it's something that I always just get on to check and see what people are commenting on. And there's so much anger towards this situation that I honestly feel for James in so many ways with people's comments and things that is thrown out at him. Now, I'm gonna cover this really briefly, so stick with me. And I'm doing this for a purpose, because I try not to show favoritism towards any drivers out there. But I do have to say, and anybody that knows me knows, I'm a big supporter of Martin Truex Jr. I got my reasons why, and again, I'm going to do this really quickly, but I had a lot of friends that were on the one team back in the day, and these are my close friends that I hung out with through the week. We kicked it on the weekends after a race, everything else, and it really started making me take a huge appreciation to Martin. And then you fast forward a little bit, and between everything with my film and television and stunt work career, I become Martin's body double, and that started in 2016. And here's my point with this. In 2016, when I first did the first gig with Martin, I showed up, and we showed up, and this is the way it is because I actually wear Martin's gear. I wear his fire suit, his helmet, everything else. And at this point, it was an all black suit with the red and white stripe, the furniture row. It was kind of the black sheep of the whole chase format at that time, because that's what we were doing, as a chase commercial. And it was one of the things where you looked around, everybody else got all these bright colors and sponsors and everything else, and here you are in this outlaw looking uniform. And I fast forward that a couple years later to 2018, when we showed up to do I believe it was the Fox promo for the 2018 season. And as soon as I put on Martin's uniform, man, that Monster Energy Championship patch right there, it was really cool. And I walked in this room, and Ricky Stenhouse was in there. And Stenhouse, he just looked at me and he said, man, looking good, champ. And we laughed and cut up about it and everything else. But obviously that wasn't for me. But it gave me the feelings that Martin must have felt, to go from everything he went through with Michael Waltrip racing to being in solid black car, kind of being the outlaw with this little small team based in Denver, Colorado, to becoming the champion and having these bright colors, having all the flash bulbs on him and everything. I could only imagine how that had to make him feel as a driver. Me personally, just with what I do with him, that was something that was amazing to me, because obviously I'll never be a champion in a Cup Series, but just to fill them shoes and just feel what it's got to feel like to be there, to have that happen to you, made me really proud and happy for him. So to see the things that are happening to him now, it's discouraging, because that man's clawed and fought really hard to rebuild his career and build a race team to what it was with the Furniture Row race team, to take it over to Joe Gibbs Racing. And now to see so much of it just keep, I'm not going to say falling apart, but the wins not happening. And a lot of these wins are happening because of really bad pit calls. And as I say, a lot of fans are upset about this. A lot of different people have things to say about it. And there's an internal conflict that seems to be building up between the two of them, between Martin and James. And let's take a listen to this.
Sorry, we hosed ourselves. We're out of tires. We had the 7-lap scuff there, so we're...
Don't understand what you just said, but that was pitiful.
Had scuffed tires on there because we hosed ourselves taking that set in stage 1, so we were regardless. Sorry, we up.
You didn't tell me you put scuffs on, so I didn't know what the was wrong, okay? Jesus.
There's no point in telling you. We're either way.
Now, to me personally, this is another situation where I don't agree with this. How you can take a guy who's had a really strong car and been, I'm not going to say dominant, but he was in contention for the win, and then put him out there on a restart like this with 7-lap scuffs when other drivers around him are all riding on fresh rubber there. That's something that I don't agree with. And, the comments about when it changed anything, well, it would have, because had Martin known that he had scuffed tires, when the green flag drops and everybody starts pulling away and everything's just not working the way the car was prior to that, you start questioning yourself, like, do I need to change the way I'm doing it? Is something wrong with the car? And for Martin not to know that right from the green flag, I do not agree with that, especially somebody of Martin's caliber. I mean, you're not dealing with a rookie that's out there. This is a NASCAR champion, and he deserved to know what was underneath him at that point. Not saying it was like trying to trick him or anything like that, but that's kind of the way it seems. It's like, you're going to make him think he's got fresh tires, but boom, again, when the green flag drops and everybody else is taking off and you're not competitive like you were, it's going to make you question so much. Now, so many fans out there are calling for Cole Pearn to come back. Let's just say this right now. I'm pretty sure Cole Pearn is happy with his life right now. Basically, everybody I know that's ever been involved in the Cup Series that retires and moves away to do their own thing, they're happy with it. They're happy with family. They don't want to come back to all the calamity and the road travel and everything else. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. I personally, right now, I don't know what the answer is, but I do think it's time for Joe Gibbs to start looking at something else and making some changes here. And again, I'm not saying James is not a great crew chief, because obviously I think he's going to be one of the best here in the future. I just don't think this pairing right now is working. And obviously you have to have strategy for the entire race. And this is where I think it fails, because in my opinion right now, Martin should easily have at least 5 to 8 more wins than what he does right now. And it's not happening. Now there's people that will say, the first year that James was up there on the pit box, they had a few wins and everything was good. But you have to go back and look at this. At that same time, that was the old car. And with that old car, you had all of Cole Pearn's notes. You had everything, the way he set these cars up, the way he strategized the race. Everything was there. And that was well documented when the switch happened. And, it paid off in really big dividends in that first year because, they were in a championship hunt, won races. Everything was really cool. But then last year with this new car, threw everybody a curveball. But obviously, Martin not being able to get a win when they had, I'm going to say, at least 3 races that they were right there in contention to get a win and that just fell through their fingers. That's something that you just got to say, man, this is continuing again this year. Maybe it's time we look at something else. And it's something I really want to see just for Martin, because I was working with Martin. We were on a commercial together in December. It's the new Toyota commercial where they got the guy out there who's got his desk in the corner. I know you've seen it, whatever, but we shot this at Charlotte Motor Speedway in December. And the first thing, as soon as I saw Martin, I walked up to him and told him, said, man, what's up with 2024? And he got this huge grin on his face because he was like, man, I want to race. He said, I know I still got it and I want to get out there and do it. But he said, this is going to be dictated by how I run this year. And obviously to go from being a champion, winning races every season, basically, to not winning and then having races fall right through your fingers like this, that's going to discourage him from continuing in this series. And that's something I personally don't want to see, because I think Martin is a great asset to the Cup Series. I think he's a great asset when it gets down to the championship hunt, because he's a hell of a driver. And I'm going to tell you, Martin is in the garage area, he's one of the best guys in there. He's one of the most hospitable, friendliest, just a good guy. And he's a great asset to this series. And I don't want to see him go because of situations like this that are happening with pit strategies costing him wins. So I wish everybody the best with this situation. And again, like I say, I'm not trying to put down James or anybody with this situation. But I think it's time for Joe Gibbs Racing to make a change, because it's early enough in the season. You get somebody in there that he can connect with, somebody who can call a race for the full race and put him in contention for the win. I promise you, you're going to see those wins, and I think you're going to see a different Martin, because I kind of see a different Martin this year. I kind of see a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more vocal driver than what I've seen in the past, and I think this is because he's got this fire, because he wants to win. And you got a driver who wants to win that bad, who knows he can do it. You got to give him the right equipment, and you got to give him the right people around him to make it happen. So anyways, as always, I want to get your comments down below, how you feel about this, and any opinions that you got, who you think maybe should come in there, or is this going to work out? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I would love nothing more than to see all this basically be able to play out and be wins for Martin and James together. But here we go. We're going into the dirt track this weekend. This is another racetrack where it's going to be a different type of strategy. Obviously a track where Martin is good at. He's won there in the trucks, and could be again, but who knows? He might fool all of us and come out there and just kick ass this weekend, which I would love to see. But again, want your opinions on everything and all your views. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And just as a reminder, I got a great thing coming up about a really killer short track here in North Carolina, where a lot of Cup drivers are at, a lot of Cup drivers run, and their kids are running. This is going to be the birthplace of the future superstars in NASCAR. So I hope you stick around and tune in for that. And as I say, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Catch up with everything that we're going to be doing this year. Anyways, hope everybody's having a great week out there. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.